What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the channel dedicated to La Vecchia Signora, the AJC. We are going to tackle another draw. 2-2 against Bologna, but it wasn't all that bad. There was some positive notes out of it that we will look at, but in the grand scheme of things, you're starting to get a divide amongst the fan base, and that's natural when you've got a run that just needs to get more wins to it. It's, guys are on different sides of the fence. I think Lucci and myself will probably cover both angles today. Should be interesting. Lex is probably, we'll see where Lex stands too. I have a feeling Lex is going to be with Berto, okay? I have a feeling she's on my side, all right? But we're going to have some fun either way, share our thoughts, and tackle everything outside of Bologna Juve's 2-2 draw. The news, real quick, Cambiaso, stay out of that Bermuda Triangle, brother, okay? J51, we're starting to call it J51, just like Area 51. You go in there, you don't come out, okay? He's day to day. See you in 3 months, kid. Lucci, Lex, are you ready to rock or what?
Let's get it.
All right. Let's get into it. Okay? And first off, what's up to everybody in the chat? Of course, drop a like as you're in here. We got a bunch of you, and this is starting to become a common theme here with these draws, and we got to figure it out what exactly is going on. Let's start with this game. Your starting lineup, honestly, absolutely no issues. We know that there's some limitations there, obviously, with some injuries and everything, but this was a week since our last game. The only real change was in the midfield. Fagioli coming in, and obviously Yildiz starting off the bench. Everything else was the same. Danilo was going to come in. Obviously, Savona just coming back from injury. So Danilo, Kulu, Gatti, Cambiaso, Perin in goal, which I'm fine with Perin or Di Gregorio. Locatelli, Fagioli, Colt Miners, Conceição, Wea, Vlahovic. Thoughts on the lineup when it had first come out? Let's start with Lex.
As you mentioned, not much we can do about it. We're quite thin on the roster right now. So honestly, no problems. Was a little confused about Yildiz on the bench, considering we had a week off, but didn't question it to start. That's pretty much it. That was my only stipulation.
All right. And Lucci, your thoughts?
Yeah, given all the injuries, I wasn't really surprised with what we had available and who we started. So it is what it is.
Yeah, is what it is. Now, again, there's enough there with the Bologna side at home, even if they're 4 wins out of 5. Like, we should, you got a week's rest, even if you're on a thin squad, alter your training, get your team ready to go. It's at home. This has to be 3 points, slip up last game. Okay, let's come out, guns blazing. Let's go. Oh, you get a half hour of flat, absolute nothing football, which is exactly what we did. Bologna came out looking good, pressing us, giving us fits. And honestly, what I didn't like was how much time, even while Cambiaso was out there, Ndoye had time to collect the ball, just turn around and take his pick of what he wanted to do. Quick 1-2s, take a guy on. And it was like that right across the top. Dominguez, Castro, who was very active, moving everywhere around the top. They had time to turn. The pressure from us to get the ball back was really flat. I hated this first half. I really, really did. 9 minutes in, we get a scramble at the top of the area. We look lost in coverage. Ndoye hits the post with a shot right from the top there. That was a big warning sign, and it's like time to wake up. Well, we didn't wake up. 24th minute, kind of a nervous little moment with Kulu chasing Odgaard at the back there on a long ball. And let's get into the ref, Marchetti. Okay, we all had this guy. I talked about it in the pregame show. 37 Serie A matches before getting this one. Okay,
Looked like his first.
Yeah, looked like day one on the job. I thought he was way off the mark. The consistency was not even close. But you guys know I say the same thing every time. you just can't leave it in the ref's hands. You got to take care of business. But it was a horror show, okay? A horror show. Real quick, L'Arbitro Nick weighing in on Marchetti. This might send some people off. Just bear with it here. Overall thoughts on Marchetti. This was certainly a tough match to manage for any ref, as there were lots of fouls and dissent coming from both sides. Personally, the way Juventus dissented after every play was not warranted. This is a Juve fan as well. Just speaking as a ref, Marchetti was calling lots of simple fouls in the midfield or in favor of the defense, which is what referees are trained to do. Exploding after every single whistle when the opponent is 50 to 60 yards from goal doesn't do you any favors with the ref. When Motta got sent off, that foul seemed clear as day to me. This is a poor attitude to have. Save the outbursts for the big plays. While I think Marchetti could have managed the game much better with his personality and potentially some earlier yellow cards, the vast majority of his decisions were supportable throughout the match. His biggest issue was taking the safest route and not wanting to make big decisions. How do you feel about that assessment, to be honest? I actually think it's pretty level in the grand scheme of things. It wasn't the be-all, end-all. I hated that, what I was seeing, the attitude, the whining, the sulking, the pissing, the moaning. One of the things I loved about us at the beginning of the year, and this is, for me, one of the signs that there has been a change there, we didn't complain about shit at the beginning of the year. Nobody was putting their hands up. Everyone was fight, no matter what. And now all of a sudden, just because we are feeling the heat, we need to score more, we need to get wins, everybody's losing their heads, including our manager. I didn't like it. Where were you guys on that whole dissent thing?
Go ahead, Lex.
All right, I wanted to say I completely agree with that statement, because I felt the same way. I was surprised. It felt kind of out of character for our squad, and especially for Malta, to be whining and complaining like that after every call. And I felt that a lot of this, that overall sentiment is modeled by the coach. So Malta was clearly, the way he was reacting on the sidelines was also having an influence on the squad. And it seemed like everyone was just frustrated with how they were playing, and they were taking it out on the ref, taking it out on the calls. It wasn't a pretty sight, and Malta even getting sent off, even that, when your team's down 2-0, like that needs to be, he needs to be held accountable for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucci, your thoughts on the whole dissent?
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I think he nailed it. It's you can only blame the ref to some extent. You got to show up for the first 30 minutes. That's the biggest thing. And I think the Motta red card was more frustrating with the team more so the ref. Although he was terrible, don't get me wrong. So
did he or did he not hit the ref with the ball? Did he kick the ball? Like, do we get a fan cam on this? What?
Who's got the fan cam? Where's the other angle?
Like it.
Did he or did he not boot the ball at this guy's head? I think, honestly, I think he was getting it. I think somebody was trying to just put the ball up there and actually popped him from a different side. I don't think it was actually Motta, but I don't know. The camera view was actually hilarious, and I was hoping that would snap some sense into the official for the rest of the game, because I did think the consistency was off. But in the grand scheme of things, we all do agree you got to take care of business on your own accord. I didn't like his attitude coming from the coach to kind of like get the emotions in check and wake up and play this game, get with it. Nonetheless, that obviously happened later, but this moment, it starts with his assessment of Marchetti. But the 24th minute, they were looking at a potential red on Kulu. Real quick, before we get into L'Arbitro's Nick evaluation, did you guys think there was anything there? Do you think Kulu got fortunate on that long ball where he tripped up Odegaard there?
The only question I have is, did it look like he was falling into him, and that's why he clipped him? I couldn't really tell, but watching the replay, it looked like his feet, like he slipped maybe and fell forward and clipped him, or he did that on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, it almost looked like there was. See, at live view, you see the arm extended, which was like, oh, did he actually like reach out and shove? Anytime you get an arm extended, it's iffy. And it starts to become a question mark, right? Like you're like, uh-oh, this could be trouble when they go look. Even on replay, it looked like he was trying to like almost cut inside, or maybe tried to do it and be sneaky about it and clip the back legs. He did clip them and everything. But again, the ball was like, there's a nothing play. Would have been an absolute shame. I think, I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Where somebody could be in trouble. I was a little bit nervous.
But
When
if
you
you
look
give
at
that a
Alberto
red
Nick, he
card-
says, this play, Kulu chases after a long ball with Odegaard right in front of him. His opponent goes down right in front of Pedin's penalty area. He says that the considerations, if it's a foul or not, let's just say it is a foul for argument's sake. Next, we have to consider, is this denial of a goal-scoring opportunity? The considerations are defenders, distance to goal, direction, and likelihood to play the ball. So he says what we are missing is the last point. Okay, and likelihood to play the ball. With the ball in the air ahead of Odegaard and judging how quick Pedin grabbed the ball, we cannot say that he was 100% going to get to the ball. Therefore, it is not a red card offense, and it is not reviewable by VAR, which is funny because they did check it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that part I was like, oh, that's interesting because they did go and look at it. At most, he said, this should have been a yellow card for stopping a promising attack. Kulu gets a yellow later in the match, so he thinks Juve might have got a little bit lucky here, okay? But Nick, great breakdowns. We'll get his breakdown on another play a little bit later. 29th minute, a ton of sleeping, everybody. And Ndoye goes by Locatelli. Big gap between Kulu in coverage, and he's got room to go short side. Honestly, nice goal. Nice goal by them. They're doing their work, and we're asleep at the wheel. And now you're down 1-0. We honestly get a good chance, finally, 46th minute. This was well worked. Ball pops out to the top of the area after a good run by Weah, who absolutely ditched the left wing and just cut across, worked a 1-2 with Chico. We're going to talk about our wing play. Gets deep, cross a ball in, falls to Locatelli. Nice one-touch pass by Cope Miners to find Vlahovic. He rips the thing, but Skorupski's a good keeper, and that's way too
right
close.
at him.
Yeah,
Way
at
too-
him.
way too
But
close
again,
to
angle there and everything. That's where the half ends.
There was even the Fajoli one before. Wasn't that before that?
Oh, sorry, excuse me. We did have a good opportunity there. Worked into Fajoli. That was Chico. All Chico on that play. Fajoli, yeah, like anybody, you got to hit the target. We'll talk about Fajoli's performance too. He's catching some heat, and we'll talk about all the player ratings after this one. Should we have made changes at half based on what you were seeing? We'll start with Lucci.
I would have considered it if you had more available bodies, to be completely honest. But I'm not surprised he didn't make any at half. He doesn't usually. I feel like he likes to see the first 15, 20 minutes, see how it goes, and then make his adjustments. So I was okay with it, to be honest.
Okay. Lex, should we have seen some changes?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I would have put Yildiz in 100%. I would maybe even put in Bangula in earlier. Like 100% I would have changed something. I think I was pretty shocked to see them come out with the same lineup in the second half. I was shocked.
If you were going to go no changes, I had a short leash. Like 10 minutes maximum. Because you had a couple guys that were really, really fighting it. And that's Locatelli and Fajoli. And that's right in the midfield. So to not get a change, and also the biggest change had to be the attitude. This descent thing that was just ripping us apart. Like, guys, wake up. You're at home. It's Bologna. You got to be better. So maybe you have to do that with a change. But if you were going to go the same, which he did, short leash. You've got 2 out of your 3 midfields not doing anything, really. Fajoli was invisible. Cope Miners continues to get flack. He was everywhere, working for the 3 of them. Yeah, I honestly, my shout was Fajoli out, Yildiz in. Keep your wingers, keep Weah out there, Chico, Vlahovic. Get this guy central. Let's try and thread the needle to the offensive side a little bit more. You're chasing goals. You're needing goals. There were shouts for Thuram. We're going to talk about Thuram and his performance. He does come late in this game, but we thought not the game for Thuram because you need goals. But to be honest, Talk about Thuram. Let's rip through second half. Mota, we talked about it, sent off, more dissent after this guy's unhinged. Let's keep it a couple levels below Pep Guardiola right now, and we'll still be okay. Because that guy's unhinged too. The story might be the coaches midweek, okay? Because these guys are off their rockers. 52nd minute, Bologna. Again, we're sleeping. Out of nowhere, this goal.
Awful.
You could drive a Freightliner through Gatti and Kulu at the back there. And Locatelli had dropped back. This is what I think screwed them the most. He had dropped back, collecting the ball and everything. Played a terrible ball. Cut off on the one touch. Gatti's got a gap between, I believe it was Castro there, that did this cheeky backheel flick on right into the path of Pobega. And this guy, he finishes, oh my God, you guys, 2-0 down. Yeah, blood pressure check, okay? 62nd minute, we kind of wake up, okay? Danilo with a great overlap from Chico. Great ball in from Danilo. Credit to him to finally bomb up. It's something I don't think that we do enough with the fullbacks, to be honest. I don't know why. I don't know if it's directed. You know, Lucci and I were having this discussion. I don't know if it's directed from Mota as a safety thing or whatnot, but Danilo does well. Colt Miners, that's what we need him doing. Getting into the area and ripping it. Perfect finish there. One for us, down 2-1. Possible penalty as we get some changes. Mbangula comes in. Is this a PK?
At first thought, or first look, it didn't look like it, but you see the replay, I think he clips his back leg. Maybe soft, yes, but it looks like he clips him.
Yeah. Lex, PK?
It does look like he clips him. Maybe.
I mean,
agree.
Just based on the consistency of the ref, like he was calling some soft ones and then not, and then like it was just, I'm not surprised he didn't call it, but it was so inconsistent, man.
He gets clipped, you see on the replay. The problem is he lands perfectly on both feet and it doesn't actually impede him. And we all saw that. He could have carried on the play. He decided to plant his feet and, oh, did I feel something? We've all been in that moment playing. You know, you're in the area. You might not get to this ball. It's getting tight to the line. And you're like, oh, did I feel something? And your mind kind of wanders. I know what Mbangula was doing there. I think it wasn't a call because of his follow through. I think if he sells it instantly when he feels the touch, I think they look at it and they call it because the contact is there. But when you show that it's not enough to like affect you and then you go down after, and this is a perfect highlight of the inconsistencies in Serie A. Because by rule, I mean, he should have got simulation if you're not going to call it or, you know, look at it or anything. We saw Chico get absolutely torched when there was a shove in the back and a reach, right? So it's like, this is just prime Serie A shit in the bed. From L'Arbitro Nick, he says possible penalty on Mbangula. He goes, we were all screaming for a penalty. We see contact after he beats his man on the back of his heel. Here we need to decide whether or not that is enough contact for it to be a foul. There really isn't much else to consider. I've spoken to consistency in Serie A. We have seen those contacts being called all year, but didn't get it on this one. Marchetti was in a good spot to make the decision. While I think this should be a penalty based on what has been called this season, no penalty doesn't rise to a clear and obvious error. So VAR can't get involved. Once again, he made a supportable decision rather than a preferred decision, leaving VAR with nothing to do. Woo! Woo! All right. It is what it is at the end of the day. You know? Is what it is. I'm okay not getting that call. I'd rather redo the first half hour of this game with some actual intent. But, hey, you know. Serie A officiating. 91st minute. Vlahovic streaking down the right wing. All right. we'll take it easy on the streaking down the right wing. But he wins the battle to the ball against Lukumi. Actually, I thought he was surprisingly composed for like that late in a game, chasing a goal. Didn't try to do too much. Waits it out. Finds Mbangula this hit. My God.
Yeah.
What, like, we do have, some positives to take out of this regardless. 2-2 draw. This goal, incredible goal.
Yeah.
What a hit from the kid. Skorupski, like we said, good keeper. He's stretched out. You ain't getting that. That's a perfect hit. And the composure to do so at that moment of the game. Mbangula may need to get more minutes. And it could be the key to getting Yildiz where we need to see him centrally. Yes. And now it's time to tackle everything in the aftermath. But you guys, 2-2. It ends there. Overall thoughts before we get into all the aftermath. Who wants to kick us off on your overall thoughts on this game? Because like I said, it ain't all bad. There are some positives to take out of it, right? The fight, the comeback, the goals were beautiful goals we scored, Where are you after this game?
Ooh, all right. Well, kind of split. Like you said, the first half was rough. Wasn't pretty. Not what we wanted to see. The attitude overall wasn't great either. But I will say, and I did tweet this out as well, that the fight that this group has to find a way to get something and to come back from a deficit is great. I'd rather not go into that deficit and concede first, but it is really important, I think, to show for like the spirit and the character of the squad that they find a way to come back. And, I hadn't counted them out all the way to the end of that game. And I think that final play, Berto, like you mentioned, Vlahovic and his composure on the wing, and then Mbangula's shot. Like, what an incredible goal, especially that late in that moment. I think that says a lot about the group's mentality. So those are definitely the positives that I take from the game. Overall, as you said, I need to see Yildiz central. I need him to play in the 10 more. If playing in Mbangula, Weah, Chico, one of those on the wings is something that's going to solve that, then that is what I think is one of the keys to fixing this offense for us.
I agree.
All right. Yeah, I'm with it. Lucci.
Where do I begin? Good. Should I start with good or bad?
You can start with either, man. Whatever you want to do.
As you know, Al, you and I are big fans of Locatelli, but yesterday was not a good showing for him, and he was very disappointing. So that's where I'll start with that. Gatti as well. Kulu, not great. Rui, we can, poor guy, toss into the fire, not good. But I don't understand. After who I just said was not great, I don't know how we start picking at Vlahovic and Koopmeiners, who were probably – Vlahovic hardly touched the ball. He had one shot on target. Maybe should have scored. Yes, fair enough. But it's not like he had a whole ton of service. It's not like he was on the ball a whole lot. I thought he was good for the moments that he did touch the ball. That goal was all him. And usually we see him fluff a pass or pass it behind the guy, and it's totally ruined. So it was great for him to make that play. Koopmeiners, again, like you said, he was all over the place. I thought he was one of the better showings yesterday. So, listen, great fight. Yes, we don't want to go down 2-0, as Lex said, but it happened. After the Cambiasso injury, I'm surprised, we didn't concede more. But it was hopefully something to build off of. Hopefully we learned our lesson and come out better against City. Like, we're going to need to be much better. There's no doubt about that. But yeah. I'm glass half full. I'm glass half full. I think we have some adjustments that need to be made. That's expected, but
I think in the grand scheme of things, we'll end up talking about if Juve are in trouble, because the one and only Del Piero says they're in trouble. But there's frustrations there for me that have been there for quite some time. We're gonna kind of evaluate everything and go through like a timeline and actually make sense of this, but we're waiting, and we keep saying this for the past few, we need that turning point. You need that turning point, but for some reason we just can't find it, and it's everybody's guess as to what's going on. But there are options, I feel, and this is probably why I'm more on the slightly frustrated point of view, is because I feel like there's options we haven't even tried or given a fair shake. So to see the same shortcomings when I think you have viable options despite the injuries, it's going to raise questions. I also have other questions in general, which we'll get to in talking about this. But I think maybe some guys, you talked about it. It's just something he doesn't do at half, make changes and stuff. But like, we need him to read the games. Like he's got to pick it up. Second half adjustments or lack thereof, I've said have been missing almost dating back to the beginning of the season from Mota.
To be fair,
I think there are some clear shortcomings that we can do better at. We should let's before we even dive into that, because that's gonna spiral. Player ratings. Let's go through the ratings, because this will talk about individuals and everything, and I'm sure it'll tie into changes and whatnot. Here you have the lineup. Obviously, Cambiaso injured day to day. Who knows at J Medical? Jay Zebra is going to evaluate him later today, and then we'll see what the hell's coming of it, okay? Perin, we'll kick things off with Perin. He's getting a 6.4 there. Everybody starts at a 6, okay, on our rating scale. I mean, Perin on both goals, I don't really know what you're... the first one was a short-sided rocket. Some were saying maybe you could do a little bit. I'm not really having a problem with Perrin's game at all.
no.
In the grand scheme of things, not as much work as he could have, done in other games where he's got higher ratings. He did make a great short side save also, diving out. That ball was going into the corner. I give him a 6.5. No issues with Perrin. Lex?
Yeah, I think goalkeeping is far from our issue right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem for
Perfectly
me.
You guys good with 6.5 then?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Let's
good
go
with that.
to Danilo. He gets a 6.9 on this score. What were your thoughts on Danilo? What was your rating on Danilo? Let's start with Lucci.
See, I think that's fair just based off his assist. He wasn't terrible defensively, but I think he just leaves us very short in a lot of time, like a lot of times going forward as a fullback. He wasn't a good fullback 5-6 years ago. He's definitely not a top one now. And we were talking about this yesterday, Al. Like, the fullbacks in today's game are very important, not only to Mata's system, but pretty much every system. So if your fullbacks are not getting forward when they need to be, and we don't know if that's Mata's telling them to do it, not to do it, whatever. But he's not a top fullback, and that's what we need. We need players to get involved going forward. We need them, involved in the build-up from the back. It's just too slow. I don't know.
What's your rating for him?
I would have probably gone a little lower to like 6.7, but I guess 6.9 is fair.
Okay. Lex,
Can't knock
what do
it.
you have Danilo at, and what did you think of his game?
I think it's fair. I mean, I think he did better than what we've seen kind of more recently. Assist was great. That's always great. Goal contribution. Can't really fault him for that. So I agree with Lucci in terms of like just an overall picture. We need someone who's more active on that wing for us. But I thought that he did his role decently well yesterday. That pass back in the 88th minute, though, was like maybe that takes a couple points off for me.
That pass back or that corner kick that we took that went all the way back to the concession stand behind Perin's goal.
Didn't get started on
We
that.
got these moments here, okay? And people were ragging on Danilo even for that corner. They said, oh, he should have never went back in that situation. I can't stress this enough. It should have never got to Danilo in the first friggin' place. Have the ball in the mixer. What the hell? For Danilo, I actually think he had overall a really strong game yesterday. The grand scheme of things, it's sketchy when he gets to the center back role. That's just the way it is. In the style that we want to achieve, his pace is far from it, okay? Yeah. But getting into the next player is really where we're going to open things up on kind of this issue that we're battling now that leaves me also frustrated, but not so much in Mota, but more so the plan and the contingency planning and everything. And I'll explain. Danilo, I actually think on the outside, he's definitely better. You can service him, he's serviceable in these games. 6.5 probably for me, though. I don't know if he's pushing 7. Yeah, 6.9, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Okay. The rumors are Danilo to Napoli in January. I'm not buying it. Okay, and I'll tell you why. We need two defenders pretty much as it is now. If
Hmm.
you say goodbye to him, you're not really gaining anything in terms of actual depth and coverage. It's going to be tough to get to as it is because
Yep.
this team refuses to even look at free agency. And that's a part that's just blowing my mind. So while everybody's saying, oh, you've got to be patient, like all these injuries, I'm not telling them to play out until the winter mercado without actually looking at just some sack of water in free agency to just help the cause. I'm not the one telling them to do that. So it's hard to really sympathize when they are so adamant no free agency and no loan returnees. Well, okay, then I don't want to hear any crying or pissing and moaning about it because you made that choice. Gatti, in the red.
Yeah, he was
Where are
bad.
we? You know
He was
what?
very bad.
I put this in the team chat yesterday. I'm getting concerned. Like it's dropping off again significantly. And as 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 shaky as Danilo can be back there, Gatti looks out of it. You know,
Yep.
he looks out of it. There's the talk of fatigue, everything like that. I still don't know if I drop him completely below the six threshold, but yeah, maybe he might be 5.5. Yesterday, it was
That's
pretty
that
bad.
second goal. He was lost. He was fucking nowhere to be
Him and
found.
Kalulu were miles apart from each. Like it didn't look like a pairing at all. It looked like they were both freewheeling. I don't know. And if we're gonna talk about fatigue, being tired, I can't stress this enough. This is a week between matches.
Hmm.
Um, and if you're running with a thin squad, adjust your training.
Yeah.
Adjust your training. Sort it out. Like you've got a problem. You don't want to use free agency. Sort your training. Something's got to give. But we haven't played in a week. Like they should have been salivating at that period to just like, okay, let's take it easy. These guys don't need to go all out in training and tackle each other and risk more. Like at that point, you're just working on system, and ideas. And the biggest issue, anyways, before that was creation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Gatti is on a little bit of a spiral.
It's not even that for me, Al. Defensively, yes, he was questionable, but like he's always trying to get involved going forward. He's just sometimes he's in the way. He's not his passes out of the back or slower than an iceberg. Like, and I think that's really hurting us going forward and trying to quick move or fast break on the going into attack. It's just,
Yeah.
and we've seen it. Mata wants this ball moving defender, and I think we're really seeing it now how much it's needed because he's not the best with the ball at his feet. I personally don't think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's getting ass. I'm okay with him being below the six threshold, like a 5.8, a 5.5.
Yes,
It was pretty rough. Are what is that your ratings? Are you guys okay with that?
I agree with
He
it.
goes a bit down. Kalulu. What do we give Kalulu? He had some struggles too. I think we going back to Labrador Nick, maybe a little bit lucky there. 6.5. I'm fine with Kalulu overall. He's the guy that needs to move the ball out of the back line and everything, and he's still working his ass off. I'm okay with 6.5 there at Kalulu and no ongoing issues.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lex.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
pretty fair too.
So Cambiaso, we know, he gets a rating, but he got injured pretty early. It was like 13 minutes. Ruhi got absolutely lambasted. Okay, feel for the guy. 6.3 rating is what Ruhi got. Is that what are your thoughts on? I think he was hard done by. I'll be honest. We all know he's got to improve.
Yeah.
Everything came out in that game that I would expect from a guy like Rui. The good, the bad, and the ugly. He took you through it full tilt. But overall, he didn't do anything to the detriment of the overall of the
No.
group. And I'm going to leave it at that. I think an even 6 for me is fine. He doesn't go up. He doesn't go down. 6.
I agree.
Agreed. I think like overall, like what's concerning to me the most now is that losing Cambiaso and being out Bremer is now the back line which is something that was what
Shambles.
we were relying on, and that was what was actually the only solid part. So now it's like, okay, now we have another gaping issue to think about as a squad, you know? So I think
Yeah.
that's something, especially Cambiaso gone, I think that also played a big role into why
100%.
those goals were conceded after too.
100%.
Yeah, it's
I'll just add on to Rui too. Yes, he wasn't great. Let's keep in mind he's still young. He's being tossed into a first team. Probably wasn't expecting to play much or at all this year. And he was going up against Ndoye too, who's a pretty good player. You know, that's a
Yeah.
tough task to ask for this kid to come in 15 minutes in and you know, whatever. But no excuses. He's not at the level that we need him to be. And
sometimes it's like a deer on ice, okay? Watching him
he
move
can't,
and stuff like that. He's got some work to do. He's not the
of
most
course.
fluid and whatnot. He's got to grow. He's got to
Yeah.
grow. I mean, to expect him to come in and be friggin' Roberto Carlos is not going to happen. That's just not.
Right.
That's just not it. Cambiaso going down is adding to the nightmares that we are facing. Yeah. Locatelli 6.4. I've got him on the edge of going down a bit.
I was going to say
Six.
lower as well.
I'm at like even 6 or maybe going down to like the 5.7 or what. I think it was really bad yesterday. Overall, he's been great this season, but 51 touches, 69% pass accuracy, no key passes, wasn't breaking the lines. He just looked out of it yesterday. It was a bad performance. I think he's on the edge of going down to like a 5.8. He's lucky if he stays even at a 6 for me. Lex?
Yeah, agreed. He was kind of like right in the mixer for both the goals we conceded. And when we
Yes.
reviewed the game, he was kind of, his movement was right on the end of those. So I would have to agree with that. Not a good showing.
All
Maybe like
right.
6.
Luch?
Yeah, pretty much
Agree?
exactly what Lex said. Both goals were, you know, he was involved
Yeah.
poorly defensively, and that
Yeah.
kind of bit us real hard. So
Yeah.
I could see him at a 6, maybe 5.9. Wouldn't surprise me.
Fagioli, 6.9. The ratings show up nice for him. 32 touches, 20 for 22 on passing, 91%, 0 key passes. Only dispossessed 4 times. But I think he just wasn't involved. Like, it was, passes like in around the back. I see the comments. Fagioli was technically great from Alex. Yeah, I mean, technically great, but not influencing anything.
Right.
Maybe technically great, but not really impacting anything.
I
I would have been. I think and we'll get to it, but the changes. I think the changes were spot on.
yes.
We made the argument Thuram doesn't have a place in this game. He showed. No, he does. The way he drives the ball out of the mid, the guy's a unit. He's getting better and better. Fagioli and Locatelli were not doing much. Cope Miners was doing all the work in that midfield. You had to help him. Getting Yildiz in and bringing Thuram, I loved that change. It showed balls. It was something different too. I was all for it. Fagioli, I'm fine with giving him like a 6, a 6.5, but I still think there was not enough impact there, and I would have changed him.
I agree.
Fair?
Based on missing the target too, I think he definitely deserves a lower than a 6.9. He should at least hit the target on that pretty
had
much
one of those performances.
gaping net.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and he
Lex,
had
go
one
ahead.
of those performances, you're right, that kind of like cheats the system for these rating systems, The
Yeah.
passing accuracy is super high because you're playing passes backwards type of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Chico Conceição finishes with a 6.6. What do you rate Chico in yesterday's game?
It seems a little low to me. I thought he was pretty good. I thought and like that there was a couple fouls on Miranda there where he barely touched him and this guy's flopping like he just got shot in the face. Like, dude, give me a break.
Yeah.
This Chico's 5, not even 6 feet, and this guy's flopping like he just got body slammed. Like, stop it.
Chico had 42 touches, 79% pass accuracy, 19 for 24. One key pass. Dribbles, 4 for 6. In terms of like he's huge. He's critical to creation in general on a team that is struggling to find team play and creation. Sometimes Chico gets caught. sometimes he gets caught trying to do too much, but I feel that's also just an effect of the overall. I love Chico's game. I love everything he does. He works just as hard defensively as he does offensively. Yeah. But I think 6.6, 6.7 probably fair yesterday, because we didn't get nearly enough offensive, attacker prowess. So I'm cool with that. Colt Miners. I do not understand the rips on this player. I really don't. There have been 2 really bad performances from Colt Miners. One was against Milan, where I don't know what the hell Mota was trying to achieve with the McKennie Colt Miners thing. Okay. And there was another one in there. This guy, though, he is just fucking smart, flat out. Like, when you watch him play, he is so intelligent. He's good. I think he's going to come good. That goal, hopefully. This guy's hard done by not to be on 5 goals this season. I see so much good. He is far from the problem.
Yeah.
I'd move him back. I'd move him back in the midfield because it's not going to affect him. You look at the ground this guy covered yesterday. He's still going to get in the offensive phase if you play him as one of the 2. Like you see Locatelli or Fagioli there. If you drop Colt Miners there to get Yildiz in the middle, you're not going to lose anything. Mm-hmm. The press and all that and how good he is at dictating that, you know what? Fuck the press, because we've lost that. Like, we seemingly don't care. It's reverted back to the point where we are going to just wait for our chances to win the ball back rather than be the team that is fighting to get it back. That might stem from losing Bremer, to be honest, because you could cheat so much with that guy.
Yeah.
Regardless, Colt Miners at a 7.8. Oh, yeah. Easily for yesterday's game. Pushing an 8.
Yeah,
he was
I agree.
Fantastic. I don't understand the hate. I don't get it. Like, he's not the issue at Juve for me. Anything to add, you two?
100% agree.
I agree. I think he just carries the same issue that Vlahovic has with the high price tag. Like, a lot of the criticism stems from that. And I think that more has to do with the fact about we're dealing with Fiorentina and Atalanta, who charge an extra tax for Juve, versus the fact that, those players were overpriced. It's more to deal with the clubs and that type of issue, I think. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where a lot of the criticism comes from. But I think the goal was great. I really hope that, as you mentioned, Berto, this allows him to kind of break that bad luck he had for a bit and really gets him out there. I'd like to see him drop back into the midfield, to be honest with you. Yeah. I do. I really think he would do very well there with this team.
We're going to get into the midfield. A lot of talk about Thuram, Colt Miners. We're going to get into that. We'll finish up with a couple more ratings. Weah 6.1. I thought Weah did a couple things that were good and that need to happen, and that's our wingers stop getting glued to that sideline. Outside of that, though, Weah left a lot to be desired.
I didn't think he was very good. He was invisible for large portions of the match, I found, until he was taken out. And Mbangula was a big difference when he came on, in my opinion. So I'd probably even drop into a 6. I think
an even 6 probably for Weah is what I'm thinking too. Lex, even 6?
Yeah, agreed.
Vlahovic, 7.1 rating. Finishes with the assist on Mbangula's incredible finish. Had an opportunity, probably should have shot, tried to dribble it too much, made a mess of one, and then ripped one right at Skorupski. Didn't have a whole lot to do there, but you noticed the difference, I think, in yesterday's game, just having a target that's bigger, that's stronger, that you could play to. I thought he had a fine game. I don't know if he's pushing 7 for me as a rating, but I definitely think he was fine. Maybe, 6.5 to 7, somewhere in that range, but I didn't have an issue with him. What do you guys rate him yesterday?
Lex?
Yeah, agreed, honestly. You got the assist, which always helps bring the rating up. I think he was fine too. I feel like he's not the issue. Personally, it's my opinion. I think that he still lacks service. I know, Berto, we've talked about this a lot on here, but yeah, I'm cool with it.
Does anyone know how many touches he actually had in yesterday's game? I can't imagine it being much.
He got 29 touches.
And he played a full 90 plus. So that's pretty terrible. for a striker to only have 20 touches or whatever it was.
I will tell you this. I think he had 2 in the area.
Yeah, and one was his shot, which was maybe should have scored, but that's that's not.
I
An
think
easy
he had
finish,
2
I
or
don't think.
3 that were in the area. Everything else was like around half.
I don't. Yeah, absolutely. I don't. I'm not doubting Vlahovic. I think he's definitely done some good things. I will say, and this is how desperate I feel we are, or I am. I am intrigued to see what Millie can do in this system, and I know that says a lot because I know we're not bringing anyone else. It doesn't seem like we're bringing anyone else as a striker in January, but
Buddy
I think
Milik is in the Bermuda Triangle, man. Like, I don't even know if this guy's
we
around
need
anymore.
something, buddy.
Him and Nico are in the abyss somewhere.
We need a different option. We need something a little different. I do like the way Malik can target or take down the ball and spread it. So it gives me a little bit of optimism. I know he's not that good. I'm trying to be somewhat positive here, but I don't know,
see.
man.
We're not going to get too crazy into the substitutes. We've got a lot to tackle. We're going to roll here. Tops and flops. The top for me is clear as day. It's going to be Cope Miners in this one.
Yeah.
My flop is Mota. My flop is Mota for this one. You got a week between games. Like I said, it's all noise for me. Injuries, this, etc. You got a week between games. You're at home facing Bologna. You just drew another game before that. This has to be a win. Your team is absolutely flat. Absolutely flat. And furthermore, they were rattled emotionally easily, and you contributed to that and fueled that to the point where you got sent off. He's my flop in yesterday's game. Cope Miners is my top. Tops and flops for you, Lucci.
Yeah, Coop's my top as well. And although I thought Gatti was probably the worst rated, I think Locatelli was my flop yesterday. We expect a lot more. He's had a great season. So give him the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Yeah. Lex,
Yep.
top and
I
flop.
agree with both of you on Koopa's top with the goal and everything. Can't fault him for that. It was a good performance overall. Flop, not to copy you both, but either Mota or Locatelli. Yeah, either or for me. Agreed.
Yeah. All right. That has it. Some got Mota in the doghouse. Some, like Skippy, saying Berto definitely wants Mota out, not even secretly. Stop it. Stop it, okay? It would take incredible levels for me to consider firing a guy mid-season. Mm-hmm. I think I showed you all that in how I acted with Allegri for 3 friggin' years, okay? It takes a lot. Let's hope we don't even touch that breaking point, okay? But Alessandro Del Piero does an interview, says they're in trouble. His exact words, they're in trouble. You've got this perfect storm right now brewing at Juve. Injuries. A team that has seemingly lost the positives that were there at the beginning of the season, where we felt like we were close to being what Motta said he wants to do with Juve. What did he say? I want to create a team that nobody wants to play against. Del Piero's words, and how I honestly agree with right now, we are not a team that anybody fears right now. Yeah. Everybody knows they can come in and face us and probably get something out of this game. That is a problem. It wasn't feeling like that at the beginning. I also feel like there's too much of an emphasis on the injuries based on what we've seen, and I think there's underlying issues that actually shouldn't matter no matter who you have on the pitch. So we got to go through this all together now. Do you feel we're in trouble right now? Do you think it's just growing pains, par for the course? Where are you at right now in this moment? I'll chime in after, but who wants to kick us off on this?
Lex?
All right. I'll start.
Are we in trouble, Lex?
We've been in trouble. For about 4 years now. That was my immediate reaction when you first put that out to us in the chat. It was just we've been in trouble. It's been on the decline, in terms of our performances, in terms of the standards, in terms of a lot of things, and it goes top down, from ownership to sporting director to coach to players, like everything all the way through. And you can go all the way back to try and pinpoint, and there's a lot of different arguments people make to pinpoint when things started, when the decline started. um, I think that we are in a delicate situation with the injuries right now, but I would agree that there are things in terms of like our inability to create still offensively is still an issue, and it's been an issue for this team. And I think a lot of the fans, and myself included, we lack patience and we're getting frustrated because it feels like we've been watching the same thing for the last 3 4 years. And it's like, it
Mhm.
gets tiring, and it's unfortunate because it does make us have a shorter leash with someone like Mota because he's only been here for 4 months, but it does feel like it's more of the same of what we've been having. And at this point, I just sit there sometimes and I'm just racking my brain like, what is it? What's the issue? Where do we need to fix this? How do we fix this? And it leaves a lot of questions. And I think that as a club overall, you don't want to go down that path like some of these other storied clubs that we've seen. You don't want to go down that path because it's a dangerous path to go down where you start to lose standards, like we were talking about yesterday, Berto, and you start to lose that vision. And I think a lot of it had to do, for me, it felt like when Dybala and Chiellini left that season was kind of like the final pieces of the old guard left. And it really left our club in this state of like, okay, who are we going to be? And I haven't really been that happy with who we've become since then. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting points you make too, and you talk to standards. I'll definitely chime in on standards. Lucci, where are you at, and what are your thoughts?
I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. I think we've had a lot of ups and downs, and like Lex said, I don't think the injuries are really helping us at this point, and that's probably prolonging our process, which is unfortunate, but it's part of the game. I also think in regards to Del Piero's words, I think that decline has been for years now. People weren't scared of us when Mata was here, or sorry, and we've seen that just get worse year after year. People see that they're weak, right? I don't know if it's a mentality thing or a quality thing, but there's just a lot of other aspects that are kind of just picking at this team, and we really see the lack of depth coming into play now. So like I said, I'm giving Mata the benefit of the doubt, glass half full. We'll see at the end of the year where things happen. I see a comment in here: if we don't get top four, is Mata done? I don't think so. Let's pump the brakes. Let's give him more than a year, especially with all the injuries. Losing your best player in Bremer is, I think, when you lose your top center back and you don't have a quality option really off the bench, that changes your whole system, your whole idea of how the season's going to go. And losing him so early really just put a nail in things, right? I just I'm not feeling trouble yet. I'm not feeling the panic, but it's a long season. Let's see how it plays out.
I think the AC's cranked up pretty good where you're at because the heat is definitely on. Okay, but let's just put it this way. Maybe we could do a what grinds my gears segment right now, okay? Because I'll tell you what grinds my gears is the automatic comparisons when you're trying to speak to this situation and you're trying to speak to this coach. And I almost get this feeling like what management did just now, and it was different management, by the way, but seeing the way things were going these past 3 years and allowing it to last as long as it did, I think has kind of skewed everybody's view on the whole thing. And people are hearing rebuild, people are hearing project, and they're automatically like, oh, 3 years, last guy got 3 years. No, fuck that. I'm telling you, you can have a plan, okay? But there are breaking points to all plans. If you have standards, and if you have set those standards, Juve has fired managers when we were getting second and third place in league. During the banter era, they had fired managers because despite what had happened in 06 and the climb back and everything, they maintained the standards that were there prior and tried to achieve that. Somewhere along the lines of all this stuff that has happened in the past 5 years, it's a slippery slope when you start doing this with your standards. Because guess what? Top 4 is never an achievement at Juventus. It should never be even spoken of as the aim. That is like a bare minimum, no matter what, because that pushes everybody to know you've accomplished nothing. I don't want a group of guys that's like, hey, yeah, we got top 4 this year. Woo! No. What the fuck are we talking about? So the second you do that, I'll tell you why it's a slippery slope, because then when you don't reach that, you start to hear, oh, this. It could be okay in the grand scheme of things for your project. It could be realistic, but you don't celebrate it. You don't name it as an aim. It's not an accomplishment. It could be fine and you continue with the project because, yeah, this is where we should be sitting. Not an aim. The second you do that and you start talking about it and you make excuses, you make whatever, guess what happens the next time? You start going a little bit further down because you've opened the door to those standards sliding, and it's a slippery slope on a road to something like Man United, okay? Mm-hmm. You start spending big, but you start making excuses. You start scrambling with the project. Listen, you can have a plan. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed a 2-year, a 3-year term. You've got to get the job done. Now, regardless of that, I'm not by any means saying we need to get crazy or make drastic changes. But what I'm going to say is this. I think there's a lot of masking right now on underlying issues that have been there throughout. The difference is when you're at the start of the season with a new coach, new team, you have way more patience. Mm-hmm. We are at 4 wins across 13 matches dating back to the beginning of October. Okay? So it's not 2 weeks of scrambling because of an injury crisis. The injury crisis came right around the Torino match. And up until that point, the same issues that were there in all that time, which we had more patience with then, I could see fans getting frustrated with now. And honestly, I feel it. Poor adjustments, lack of changing, adapting to games from our coach. You've got a team that can't seem to put together 90 minutes. And that's going back to September.
Even last year, that's been a thing.
Yeah, but you have patience with that because you're like, yeah, it's September, we're drawing, we're having problems creating. The team play. Yes, you have injuries. Yildiz. Play, why have you not tried that? There are things to do. You're skinny. You're thin squad. I'm not telling you not to pick up a free agent. It's good enough for every other club, but we have this arrogance like it's not good enough for us. There are some signs there that, for me, we need to do better and we need to stop playing with this slippery slope and going with the excuses and saying, you know what, this is all good. No. There are things we can do better. For me, injuries, yeah, they'll hurt you probably in terms of the multiple competitions and everything like that. But we've said for a while, Serie A is your priority, not Champions League. It isn't. Once you start getting the injury bug the way we have, Serie A back home. If this team does not qualify for Champions League, that's disaster.
Yeah.
That's disaster. You just spent 163 million euros. I know that doesn't guarantee success. Okay? I understand. That doesn't guarantee success. But it's a huge problem if you don't get that Champions League money because where's the restart? All of a sudden, you need to hit the restart button. And then all of a sudden, are we going to get plucked of the young talent and players because we can't sort our shit out? It all matters, everybody. It really, really does. You can't just say, new project, rebuilt, 2 years. I'm sorry. Where's the breaking point? 7th in the table, 8th in the table, 9th in the table, not able to create in September, not able to create chances in May. It's all relevant. Where I'm at right now is the same I've been at for weeks that I've told all of you. Game-to-game basis. At the end of the season, I'll assess everything. But right now, I think we could be in for some trouble if we don't sort some things out fast.
I agree.
Lex, Luch,
Yeah, I agree completely with you. Everything you said, because especially looking at that dangerous precedent that we set with keeping Allegri for 3 years. Like, I know we don't like to go back to referring to that, but it's very true. Like, that is not Juventus standard. We sacked Sarri after he won the Scudetto, and now we're keeping Allegri, who ended up with one trophy in 3 years. And even when the arguments are made against Malta, and people go back to saying that Allegri 2.0 is the comparison and that he was so much better, it's like, what are we comparing to? Another guy who also didn't win, another guy who also got one trophy in 3 years. Like, that's not a good comparison to make. It's like, are we arguing over which coach is worse now? Like, I don't want to be in that type of situation. That's Man United stuff. Like, as you mentioned before, like, that's not where I want the club to be. So I think that's really important, as you pointed out, to just take this game by game. I think that I share the frustrations with even like Mota's project catching stride. And I know there's been injuries, but if you look at like maybe like Palladino's Fiorentina, like he's been there now the same amount of time as Mota's been here. And like, it's just, you have to realize too that we have patience, but we also need to see something from Mota too. And as
yeah,
you said, I'm not Mota out either, but I am, waiting to see some things change. I need him to start doing something.
yeah,
I'm not saying Mata has been perfect. He's definitely made some questionable decisions or adjustments, no doubt. But I just don't like when we're comparing to teams like Fiorentina and Bologna, and like we're not that level. And I think it's completely different based on just the standard and the expectations at Juve compared to Fiorentina. The level of stress is way higher at Juve compared to those teams.
Yeah.
Fiorentina hasn't had the injuries we've had. Fiorentina is not playing in Champions League like we have for the first time in how many years. So I think also those things like exterior factors need to be taken into account. Fiorentina, someone just said it here, Fiorentina is overachieving. I 100% agree. Wait till they have to play, I don't think they didn't end up playing Inter, did they? Didn't that game get postponed?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
last
That
week?
was the
So
Bove situation,
Okay.
they
unfortunately.
got tough games in their
Fair.
schedule. Napoli, Inter, Milan, they still got to play us with, that'll be a big game against them. Like, I just think
I,
we're not even halfway through the season yet. We've had a damn roller coaster, to say the least. And
I
hopefully
see it
once
in
we
the
start getting
comments
some bodies
again,
back.
and not to pick on anybody by any means, but it's like, let's judge when fairly and critically when we have all our players back. I can't stress this enough. The issues that we are talking about, the fans that are frustrated, have nothing to do with injuries. They really don't. Being able to read a game and make a tactical adjustment from Mota's end has nothing to do, really, with the guys he's missing, because he's still had options. He hasn't been as hard pressed as we make it out to be when your main issue is creation. He's still had the weapons. Like, we're talking about Nico Gonzalez as if Chico isn't miles clear of him. We're talking about Douglas Luiz, who we didn't even know where the hell he was going to play. We're talking about Milik, who some said sell him in the summer, but now all of a sudden they're a big deal. No. Like, I'm sorry. The same thing I said when everybody thought Vlahovic was going to get pulled from this lineup and, now we're going to get changed. We're going to see a variation. I said, no, it ain't going to get better. You know why? Because it's on Mota. Mota must adapt and change things. This excuse of injuries fell short with the guys before him, and I'm going to stay level and keep it the same because the issues we have no bearing on the injuries. You just had a week between games, and you're still flat as shit for a half. It's either first half or second half for this Juve, and that's been a while now for Mota's game. Before the injuries, the injury crisis didn't hit until, the Torino match. What date was that? November 9th? All that time leading up to that, you had the same problems. I'm telling you guys, we're making too much of something that it still needs to be better. Your system, your game, it needs to be implemented no matter who you have. Sure, you know what suffers? The quality.
Yeah.
The execution. But that's not, when your game isn't even coming through at all, that's a problem that injuries don't solve. That's why when Vlahovic leaves the game, it means nothing. When Cope Miners is there, whatever, etc., because he hasn't got the team play sorted out. You think that these guys like Gasperini there can go through players like a pair of underwear and nothing changes in their game because they've sorted out their game, their style?
Yeah.
And that's like the point I was trying to make, because I agree with you, Lucci, about that. It is easier for clubs like Fiorentina and to coach at clubs like that because there is less pressure and standards. Completely agree. And that, I guess that's more the point I was trying to say, is like, as Alberto mentioned, is that it feels like Monta's been here now since the start of the season. It's December, and I really haven't seen the game and his identity in the team. It feels like, I don't know, like the system's not there, the team isn't buying it. Is it the players? Are the players like too far gone after the past 3 years, like to not buy into it? That's kind of where I'm at.
I'm going to say this though.
Yeah.
I take one big positive out of yesterday. And I saved this on purpose here because not everybody's got the stomach for when I get real about maybe being concerned. There's a big positive out of yesterday, and that was that substitution. Thuram coming in and Yildiz coming in. He sat. I know that Mota got sent off and everything. That was around the 51st minute. That substitution did not just come from the next man up. Like, they were discussing things at half. Like, I've got to believe he's involved in that for sure. The fact that he finally sacrificed a midfielder to get Yildiz in the middle and keep the rest of the attackers there, that gives me hope and signs that we will see that turning of the screw to something a little bit more brave and a little bit more oriented at pushing the issue up top.
Yeah.
So I actually think that's a big sign, and I hope that we're going to roll with it moving forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing that more. He might have to sacrifice somebody. Get ready. We're all talking about it. Cope Miners back. Yildiz in the middle. I think will make a big, big difference. And I have faith that that simple little solution there is what we're going to see. It's a drastic one for him because he has always rocked three mids. Always. Even as his 10, you can go back to Bologna, you can go back to Spezia. But now, if he's willing to do that, I love it. And one thing I will give Mota extreme credit for, he's not taking the excuses. So everybody that's trying to, you don't need to make them for him. I give him mad respect because he went out to the media yesterday and he said, injuries aside, whatever, it's my responsibility to get this team ready to play. He's not making excuses. Don't make them for him. That's where I'm at. Simple as that. Let's go. Easy solution. Thuram's a must start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Is he a must start though? For real? Must start?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love him. He's
We got
great.
Storm the Bar and the Rocket. There's a lot in there about Thuram. We're going to get into it all and everything. Guys, what are our targets for the season at this point now? Everybody's talking Scudetto race is over. Scudetto race is over, you guys?
The
Not
point
till you're
gap is
out.
not even that bad. It's not even...
Nothing's over. Remember that Lipton
Right.
Brisk Iced Tea commercial, okay? You got the
We're not
Rock
even
talking
halfway
there,
through the
Rocky
season
Balboa.
yet.
Nothing's over. Just give me something to drink. Let's get these guys some Lipton Brisk Iced Tea, okay? Nothing's over. We got to go on a run, though. Like a serious run. And if we're looking at realistically, it's a hell of a battle. Top four right now, like I said, you want to talk about it being a name. That's a must, okay? I'm going to simplify this, my thoughts. We'll see where Lucci and Lex stand. Stop talking year end at Juve right now. If you're in that dressing room, if you're part of that team, whatever, stop talking year end. Your target right now is to go out every game with everything it takes to get 3 points. And domestic takes precedence over Champions League. City, at home, whatever. Like, I'm telling you, you have got to hit top four. Bottom line.
100%.
Bottom line.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a priority. Swati, early predicted lineup for City game. Two teams in shambles going at it. What do you expect?
Man, City, I was watching that. They're awful defensively. Disaster. Like, we're on par with us defensively after yesterday. Is McKennie back? Does anyone know if he's available for midweek?
Hey, he's in the Bermuda Triangle, man, day to day.
If he was available, I'd say start him at right back. I'm not even lying. I'm being completely honest.
I'm fine with it.
Savona on the left because you don't want Rui out there and you don't want Danilo going up against Doku.
Savona, I don't think he could do it on the left.
You're going to play Rui on the left?
No, and I don't want Danilo on the left.
Your only option is Savona at this point.
You know who could do it in a pinch that has done it before? Weah.
I'd rather see McKennie at right back.
No, Weah could do left back. But then you can't have McKennie as right back. You'd have to go Savona, and you'd have to get protection ahead of Weah. But Weah played right up the left side at, was it Lille? Yeah, right up the left side and right up the right side. He's played left back. Albeit not much, but Jesus. Rui out there?
The only concern with that, though, Al, if you drop him to the left and you got Mbangula left wing, that's a risky left side there. I don't know if I'm sold on that.
I don't know if I'm sold on anything right now, to be honest.
No.
But
no,
Weah could do it. I don't know if Savona can take on the left side, but I'm
they
willing
said
to.
Earlier he could play both sides, but I could be mistaken.
I'd be willing to give that a shot too, to be honest, and then utilize somebody like McKennie or Weah on the right side. I'd be down for that, but
that would
be honest,
my choice.
Yeah, you've got some questionable things. Let's get it moving. I think across the back line, outside from the outside's going to be some question marks.
Yep.
I don't know if I go Danilo on the left side, to be honest. I see Ori here with his lineup: Digre, Savona, Gatti, Kalulu, Danilo. Colt Miners, Thuram, Chico, Colt, Yildiz, Duchamp. I would do the exact same thing up top. He's got Colt Miners in there twice, but it's okay. We know what the play is. You got to have a winger out there. Would you start Mbangula against City?
Not against City. Maybe next weekend.
Oh, next weekend, I think he'd start for sure, but... and to be fair to Ori, I would throw Colt Miners 3 times in the lineup if he plays the way he did last game. But in the middle, I'm ready for Thuram, Colt Miners. Yildiz ahead.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Chico on the right. Yildiz. And let's get Mbangula on the left. Yeah. Grip it and rip it. Fuck it. Yeah. Let's go.
I know. I mean, they're playing off of merit, apparently. Okay, so let's get him some minutes. This guy scored.
Yeah, he's been sitting on the bench too long, and then he comes out, bags one like that. You know what, kid? Champions League night. Let's go. We're at home. Come on. Let Pep scratch the last bit of skin on that scalp off, and let's rock, okay? This guy's on here. This guy's attacking people on the streets. We got to take advantage of this. This guy's losing it. Hot take. Nico will unlock us in the attack if he is healthy. Of course, he could play centrally in both wings and give us characteristics we don't have right now. I am not sold. Not sold on it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your confidence in that happening, Luch?
Oh, man. 7.
7?
That's being optimistic.
Yeah. Lex, 1 to 10 scale. How confident are you in this hot take?
6.5? 6.5. And I'm a Gonzalez fan, but I don't think he unlocks us. I think he does offer us more depth and attack. But
I'm at a generous 6 out of 10. Yeah. Based on what was happening before he went out into the abyss.
He wasn't terrible, though. He wasn't bad. And he's
I only saw
Weah.
One solid game against a weak opponent, but in a wide open game. I don't know. I'm not sold. Hopefully he changes my mind when he's back. Mm-hmm. And TikTok, motherfucker, let's go. Come on. Nico, what the? Is the Scudetto race over? Should we be worried about top 4? We don't need to panic just yet, but concerns are fair. If you want to think Scudetto, we got to go on a run. It's on the edge. Let's put it that way. It's on the edge. Top 4, not worried just yet.
No.
Not worried just yet.
You can't tell me Lazio and Fiorentina are going to keep running the table like they have been. They got to face some. Lazio has Napoli today, so who knows how that goes.
Ooh, fall asleep.
Oh, they play again, just like the Coppa Italia. Lazio pumped them. Will they do it again? Right. Well, that was the B lineup for Napoli. And a Chihuahua check-in. Conte, he's so scared of multiple comps, had to get bounced and use the excuse of all this rotation because he knows he can't even handle a little Coppa Italia on the side.
Oh my God, he'd be crying.
Your leader is scared of multiple comps. Madonna mia. Jesus with this guy. Wait till you get those extra comps and then the excuses fly. Madonna. Vincenzo. We should play the Christmas tree for... It is the holidays. We did bring it up. With the personnel we currently have, if Motta is adamant on having 2 players on both sides hugging the touchline, then have the Metsalas cover the wings more so. We talked about
that, to be honest.
This goes back to Lucci, what you said earlier. If I'm thinking about the Christmas tree setup where it's way more narrow, that point you made about how critical fullbacks are plays into this. And I don't see, if I see them right now, not always getting our fullbacks as involved, whether that's from them on their own accord or the coach, regardless, they would have to be bombers for that narrow formation to get any kind of width and work. I don't see it happening, but I don't honestly think we have to get to that point.
Well, you need a proper fullback to get like on the opposite side of Cambiasso, because you can't just do it on one side. It'll be too predictable.
And honestly, I think like we still haven't seen this hint that we got yesterday with Yildiz centrally and everything, and it could unlock everything. You don't have a guy in the middle like Yildiz that can dribble out of tight scenarios and unlock everything. He did it on a couple instances yesterday. The second he does that, all of a sudden, space for Vlahovic, space for Cope, space for Imbangula on the wing, space for the overlap on the fullback. It changes everything. I don't think we need to get to the point yet of changing the formation. That's where I'm at.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Now, we keep it rolling. Is Jay the Zebra our head of medical and set pieces? Oh my God, the set pieces, Luch.
Yeah, those are rough.
Like, and again, just one of the small things that I'm telling everybody, injuries don't affect, like we are non-threatening on set pieces.
I mean, how many Bremer goals do we have off set pieces?
Yeah, but we also had Gatti on set pieces, Danilo on set pieces. Thuram's a big kid. He could get
he had a chance yesterday.
He had a header yesterday and stuff. But like, dial something up. I don't know.
Like, you gotta get creative for sure.
And you can't be sending 2 guys out on corners to just stand next to each other and then go backwards.
Stupid. That was very stupid.
You got to be tough. We got to grind it out. Got to be better. Lex, I think, we've lost her. Hopefully she comes back.
Had a hair appointment? I don't know.
Oh, she's back. There we go.
My camera broke.
Camera broke. It's all good. All good. All good. Look, and Lex, this one right up our the joyful, contagious, and delightful. You rock. Oh my goodness. Lucci, we're just chopped liver over here, bro. Come on.
There's two others of us in here. Like, what the hell?
Oh my God! I tell you what, you're late once, and they just never let you forget it. How about the shit list now? You know. By the way, major announcement yesterday: 3 kits being given away for all you subscribers out there. We take care of you.
Kids for a second, to be honest.
There it is.
That makes more sense.
And there it is.
Wow.
All right.
Look at that.
I tell you, we treat this army way too good. Maybe we should just divvy these 3 up amongst ourselves.
That's a great idea.
I like that.
I tell you, good luck, everybody. That's going to be given away closer to Christmas, okay? Who plays left back versus City? You're looking at it right here. Lucci, you're fullback, are you?
I can do it.
Oh, yeah.
I still have both of my knees, so I'm good.
Yeah, it's true. Right now, I need to fix this wheel. So Lucci's probably in play. I'd take Luca
we're in
Natale, for
trouble.
God's sakes. Probably still in the fetal position, sucking his thumb right now this morning, but I'd take him right now. That's how desperate it is. Make your all-time trio of kits. Oh, God, I love this.
Oh,
One
boy.
has to be a home kit, away kit, and third kit. I love this question. You know I love kits. Do you want to kick us off? Okay, let's just go through it together. Your top home kit, Lex.
Oh, was it 2017-18? I
With
think
the collar up here?
the
little
button,
white
like
collar?
the one, the Dybala one I have. I think it's 17-18.
That's a nice home kit. I love the
Yeah.
17-18 home kit. Lucci, top home kit.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I do like your shout though, Lex. That's a good one.
Thank you.
think
Yeah, that's in the
I'll copy
tops for
that.
sure, I think.
Yeah.
Classy.
I'm trying to
I'll just
think
say
of
I'm
what
going
other years.
97-98, everybody. I
we're going
love that
retro.
home kit. It was also the best Del Piero version we ever got. That guy was competing for Ballon d'Or. He was insane. He was going head to head with Phenomenal, and it had the Sony on there. It just, I absolutely loved that kit. And the way the name sets looked on the back with the black like kind of halo for the numbers inside, and then the name and the arch over, yeah, that's taking it for me. 97-98. Giddy up. Luch, top home kit.
You know what? I just found one. It's the year of 99-2000, the Kappa one.
Ah,
If you know which one I'm talking
Is
about.
that the one with the
collar.
kappa down the sleeves?
Yes.
Yeah.
that
That's a
one's
clean.
nice.
That's a
That
clean
one's
one.
I couldn't remember the year, but that's a nice one.
That
Yeah.
was nice. Yeah, that
Best
one's awesome.
away kit.
I think I have this one.
95-96 Champions League winning kit.
I'm doing 2015 pink. Is that away or
Yeah.
was that third? The
That's
pink
away.
one, the one like you're wearing, but the
It's
The actual one, yeah, not the we draw every game version. Yeah.
the human race version. Yes.
The one I was thinking of was the black one with gold, but that's the third kit, not the away.
That's
That was
third,
my
yeah.
third pick.
It's 95-96 Champions League. Like, that's an all-timer. What a class kit. What a class kit.
That's a good one.
The best third kit, now that black and gold one comes into play.
It's honestly, it's either that one or this year's. I really like this year's.
I gotta
have
say
it.
this year's.
Yeah.
This year's for me is the clean and the details with the J's all over in the pattern. Like,
It's clean.
it's clean. I got to go with that one. And Alex B just simply says any black kit. Like, they're all bangers.
Yeah.
And even for next season, our third is going to be black and white with the same design, the same logos, the trefoil, retro logos, retro Juve logo. It's going to be clean. Our away kit, Lazio, like to a T. Ocean waves blue. Like light
that's right,
blue
I
and
did see that.
ocean waves. Like pastel. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
God.
And the home kit confirmed pink trim. So it's like, you know, the Teamgeist design, how it has like that rounded kind of wave in it that goes to the bottom. That's all going to be pink, separating the stripes. And the stripes are like a barcode. You have like a thick one, and then you have skinny ones.
Oh.
And then you have the stripes going down the shoulder, a big black patch like for the shoulders. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's different. It's different. The third one will be the ticket.
best, yeah.
Third one
Yeah.
will be the meal ticket there. God, Lex, again. What's going on? Lex, can you replace Malta starting tomorrow? Please.
I'm there. If they call me, I'm there.
boy.
Send me on a flight to Toronto.
Lex and company lineup. Digre, Ruhi, Kalulu, Gatti, Savona, Locatelli, Miners, Imbagula, Yildiz, Conceição, and Vlahoman. Okay. Ruhi for me is risky business. You know what? Risky business. I don't know. It's interesting. You know, we talk about all these things. That's kind of ripped through Storm the Bar and everything. I think we still have maybe one more we can tackle. Let me see. All-time trio kits. Here we go. Ori, I don't understand the harsh criticism at Giuntoli. Granted, he made some mistakes, but the shape of this squad when he got there, how can one expect everything to be solved after one summer? I stand firm even in my, frustrations, but he did leave a big hole not realizing we needed another striker when you've got Vlahovic. Like, I didn't have a problem with him saying goodbye to Keane, but I did have a problem with not bringing another striker in.
I agree, but I also don't think he expected Malik to be out till December, if not January. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Which is also kind of annoying because he got hurt in the fucking summer while we were in a mercado.
And wasn't he trying to avoid surgery, and then he realized he needs...
It's the whole Pogba situation all over again. This time with Milik. And same thing. Like, you're in that, like, what are you banking on happening there? You just went through this with Pogba. I think he only left to the weird loans on all the defenders that left and leaving us skinny. I mean, there was a couple things he left, and unfortunately, I think it's pretty unlucky. We got stung in the ass on both of those, but overall, I like what Giuntoli did.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
If he had the money, we would have liked another center back. I think we were thin there as well. But and we, like you said, we shipped out how many, which was a little questionable. But
I don't think we're as hard done by as some make it seem. Like, definitely when we're talking about roster, I don't feel that way. Like, I don't feel that way. And maybe that's a part of why I can seem pessimistic or too negative, because I actually believe like we have a good assembly of players. When I hear people come at me with the age of this squad, it means sweet fuck all to me. And I'll tell you why.
You should just call them out at this point.
Who?
One of our own.
Oh yeah, old man Skanga. Yeah, I mean he's playing the youth card here, and I'm like, Skanga, Venezia has a team 2 years on average older than us. They're last place cellar dwellers. Age has no bearing. Quality does. If you're telling me, looking at the games, fucking Cagliari, Lecce, Parma, if you're telling me that the lineups we came out there with aren't capable of pulling 3 points in that's nonsense. And I'll go as far to say, and he could fire at me this week when he comes back on the midweek show, but a little bit hypocritical when you come out here, match in, match out, and say, that's enough to get the job done. But then when it doesn't, you're quick to say, oh, we're young. No, let's keep it level. Let's keep it level. Age means nothing. Quality means everything.
I don't think age is necessarily the be-all, end-all. I do think where we're clearly better on paper, I think that's just a mentality thing. Just if it's mental fatigue, physical fatigue, I think that's where we're losing them. Like, we haven't seen them show up for a full 90, I don't think, all season. And I don't know if that's a mental thing or they're tired because they're playing all the time due to all the other injuries.
The other thing I get into, too, is I didn't build this fucking team. So when I have to read a journalist coming out with a novel on a tweet about the age of this team, they need experience, well, that's Giuntoli's job. If you provide the team that's all young, I don't want to hear that that's why we have to drop all our expectations. You did this. Your job is to provide a competitive team to the standards of Juventus. Again, everybody, it comes back to standards. Let's go. Mota, all the credit in the world because he still is taking full accountability.
Yes.
He's not making excuses. Don't make him for him, okay?
Yeah.
City, midweek. Oh, my God. Let's just see what happens. Like I said, game-to-game basis, everybody. As far as Serie A, well, what do we got? Two shitheads going at it today, Napoli and Lazio. We'll see what happens there in the table. For Juventus, we're at 27 points right now, okay? 5 points ahead of Milan and Bologna, who both have a game in hand to us because we're 15 games in. Let's see what happens. Napoli and Lazio will face off. Lazio's at 28 points. Napoli, we know, is 32. Atalanta, 3 losses this season, but they find themselves on 34 points. Like I said, draws, you got to find a way to get over the line and get the 3 points. Yep. The unbeaten thing means nothing when you're drawing every single game.
You're better off winning.
6-9-0. 6-9-0 for Juve. Inter is there at 31 points. Fiorentina at 31 points. But I do agree with what Lucci said. It's different at those clubs. And to be honest, Atalanta is scary right now, and I'll tell you why. When there's no expectations to the level that you're performing, you're playing with free money. Mm-hmm. They can go balls to the wall, and it doesn't matter if they drop out of there. Doesn't matter. Like, they're just rolling.
They're winning it. I think they're winning it this year. I still
Steroids helps, and let's get on the juice, for God's sakes.
ACL injuries back 4 months later. I don't know. Something's not adding up.
Yeah, right? Like, Scalvini, 5 months. I don't even know what Scamacca's doing 3 months. He's at a training ground, whatever. Even if he's jogging out there, it's 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, like, there's something in the water in Bergamo, everybody. It's fishy. Mm-hmm. If that was Juve, we'd all be in for doping tests. They'd take the AJC in 100%. And drug test us if we got players back in 4 months off ACLs, okay? My God. Let's see what happens. But you guys, despite, another draw and everything like that, like I said, I mean, there's some positives coming out of yesterday. Let's hope that we can mount up. Cope Miners, hopefully that goal sparks him, okay? Yildiz in the middle, sacrificing a midfielder. Maybe now we're going to see the Brave come back out of Motta and the squad. Let's see. One game at a time, okay? City midweek, I'm going to try to bring you a watch along. Lucci, Lex, absolute pleasure. Had a lot of fun breaking this down, okay? We can make draws fun, okay? We can make draws fun. Let's go. We could try, but still, let's get back to winning, okay? Who's next up? Venezia in league play. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I'll tell you what. We're sticking to the positives now. Venezia, 3 points. I don't want to hear anything otherwise. Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, Lucci, we might go at it again in that damn team chat if there's a draw against Venezia.
I will not be happy if they don't win that game. I'm with you.
Let's go. I don't even want to think about that right now. City, let's get after it. Pep, maybe we can hire some people to taunt him on a street and he'll get himself in jail or something in Turin. This guy's unhinged. Let's go. We got to do better. Pick it up, Juve. Pick it up, Motta. You guys, Army, second to none. Drop a like. Drop a comment when the video ends. Feel free, to share the content, okay? Love the support and appreciate it. Till next time, as always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care.